The breaking news here on the show. Reuben Foster's domestic violence case will not go to trial. The decision came in here today. Elissa Ennis, Tom, testified that she essentially lied on all of the allegations against Reuben Foster, throwing the cell phone, throwing her dog, saying the F word multiple times, dragging her by the hair, punching her 10 times. She called it, quote, a money scheme to try to ruin Reuben Foster's career. So after testifying there, the judge out there in Santa Clara County made the decision that Reuben Foster will not go to trial with this domestic violence case.
Yeah, so the DV charges dropped. The weapons charge dropped down to a misdemeanor. So really good news for Reuben Foster. And I guess it's not much of a surprise, Cam, that the domestic charges were dropped, or domestic violence charges in this case were dropped, because, I mean, the victim herself said, or the alleged victim, I guess I should say, said herself, hey, I lied. I made the whole thing up to get back at Foster for dumping me. Which, on just the other end of it, if you're the DA, why did you even try to go this far?
Right.
Like, the victim here said that she wasn't the victim. So I think that it was maybe not the best choice to push forward on this. I read one report from friend of the show, David Lombardi, that the judge rebuked the idea of charges altogether very harshly, which is a good sign for Foster there. It's been a bit of a mess for the Niners and Foster overall. Foster was also earlier this year arrested for a misdemeanor marijuana charge. That case has now been dropped. That's a whole different state involved there. That's in Alabama. This one, of course, was in San Francisco. But very good news here for Foster to not have his domestic violence charges going forward. The Niners had said, Cam, they were going to cut him if he was found guilty. And clearly that's not going to be the case here because the charges have been dropped. So a big, big win there for Foster and his legal team.
Absolutely. And when, like you said, somebody testifies under oath that I lied about everything, there is no reason for the district attorneys to continue and try to press charges and all of this stuff. But the judge just says, you know what, we're not going to trial. This can move on. Now, with that said, you can't put it past Roger Goodell to be Roger Goodell, Mr. Judge, Jury, and Executioner, to still implement the 6-game suspension. That's worthy of monitoring, Tom.
That is something that I would be at least a little bit concerned about. Now, I guess the difference is if you want to make the comparison between the Reuben Foster case and the Ezekiel Elliott case, is that with Zeke, the victim in this case was was very much cooperative and was saying that she was abused. Clearly, we already have here the victim in the Foster case saying he didn't touch me. I actually threw the phone at him at one point. Everything there had been made up. And I'll also make mention of this right now. This is why we wait for things to play out in the court system.
Sure.
Like, there were a lot of people that immediately rushed to judgment on Foster, said, you got to cut him right now. There were some pundits that said, you got to cut him right now. Don't wait, cut him. Make the point that you're tough on domestic violence. And then it comes out, oh, she made the whole thing up, which is a whole nother long issue about the credibility that is hurt across the board in actual domestic violence cases when the woman in question makes it up. And this is not going to help actual cases because it's going to be, oh, she just made it up like so-and-so did.
So Judge Klippen, Tom, was very brutal on the district attorney, saying there was no evidence at all to continue to pursue charges against Reuben Foster, and basically left no doubt that these charges should have never been filed against Foster in the first place. And obviously, when you look at the testimony from Elissa Ennis, like, duh, of course the charges should never have been filed. She lied.
I would love, if you guys haven't followed the case closely, what the Santa Clara DA in their closing arguments in this kind of preliminary trial to see if they were going to go to the actual trial, the closing argument was more or less, she's such a big liar, you can't trust her to be telling the truth right now. That was the end argument.
So this has
it never should have gotten to this
point. Of a witch hunt, honestly, that they're just out to get Reuben Foster. That's the only logic I can bring up for the district attorney here to continue to pursue charges against Reuben Foster.
Now, the gun charge could still be interesting. That's been dropped to a misdemeanor because he bought it legally in Alabama, but it's not legal to own in California because it's California versus Alabama. You know, different laws, different states. 3 charges in the end is what Foster were facing. Domestic violence with an allegation he inflicted great bodily harm. forcefully attempting to prevent a victim from reporting a crime. Those 2 were dropped. Those were all felonies. Also was possession of an assault weapon. That felony has been dropped to a misdemeanor. That's going to be set for a June 6th court date to further investigate that one, and if it's going to go forward beyond that. So a big win for Foster, and it's a much needed sigh of relief on his end.
You guys may be wondering, did Foster say anything walking out of the courthouse today? This just came through the wires right now. He did not. He left with a smirk and a thumbs up, and that was it.
That's all he needs, right?
That's all he needs. Now, Tom, we still have some more legal stuff to break down with Reuben Foster. June 20th court date for the pot charge that he's currently facing, which recently came about on January 12th. So the NFL could still impose some sort of suspension on that. So there is no guarantee that Foster is getting 16 games full on for a season. No, I'm saying a 16-game season.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there could be a couple games here where he could be suspended.
Well, I think that was maybe the biggest, at least non-Cowboys focused reaction I had to the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. It was that what happens in court doesn't matter. Like, you can be found innocent, have no charges even filed against you, and the NFL can still drop the hammer. And that's why I didn't like that. I thought it set a terrible precedent. And if you're a Foster and a Niners or a Niners fan, that has to at least be in the back of your mind, like, you know, they did it to Zeke. Could they still do it to me?
Right.
Could they still find a way to suspend me for a couple of games?
And they just might.
And void guarantees and also negatively impact your earnings going forward in terms of endorsement opportunities. So that is going to, I think, remain a concern for Foster until NFL says, hey, no suspension, you're in the clear. But either way, today, a big win for Foster. Not exactly a huge surprise because, again, as we mentioned, the victim herself said that there was going to be nothing going on there, like that she made the whole thing up, which is a whole different issue, and I wouldn't be surprised what kind of comments there we have going on that end.
Okay, so that's the deal with Reuben Foster there. The domestic violence charges have been dropped. Now, with that, you still got to think about Roger Goodell. Will he suspend Reuben Foster? You guys hit us up in the reaction poll here on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. Give us a heart for yes, a like for no. Tom, I actually think Roger will not implement any suspension, at least in terms of the domestic violence allegations.
I hope not.
Keep an eye on the marijuana possession charge, though, because, well,
look,
it's pot.
It's
illegal.
Who cares, though? Like, that's a whole different thing, I guess.
Illegal in the sense of the NFL, I should say. So, substance abuse policy, Roger may just implement the suspension just because. So, there you go. Hit us up in the reaction poll there about Reuben Foster.